Hey everybody, welcome back. So today I want to talk about the secrets of the Millionaire Mind. This is a book by T Harv Eker. And actually this is one of the first videos that I ever made on YouTube. Probably, I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago. And it'd be interesting to compare these two videos, see where I was at back then. But you may be wondering, since I'm sharing this content, oh hey, is Alec a millionaire? Good question. I've been working on this for about 5 or 6 years since I decided to change my mind, change up my financial blueprint, and create a new type of destiny for myself in the realm of finances, wealth creation, money, etc. Because I was struggling pretty badly at that time. So I decided to make a change. And what I will tell you is that right now I am way, way closer than I ever was before. And that's really an exciting, beautiful thing. And what I believe is one of the most important things to understand about this is that this change first happens in your mind. And one of the things he talks about in this book a lot is that our financial blueprint is something that we largely inherit from our parents and acquire at a very young age in life. This is in line with a lot of stuff that I've learned in my study of personal development, but also in my study of hypnosis. We develop these patterns. We take on our blueprints, our beliefs about the world at a very early age. And if your parents or your primary caregivers have some type of challenging relationship with money, you have probably inherited a pretty similar pattern. Actually, whatever their relationship with money was, you most likely have inherited a similar pattern. Now, there are a couple different ways to engage with this. You could be more like one of your parents or the other parent, and you could be like kind of copying and following in their footsteps, or you could be completely rebelling against what your parents taught you because of how it made you feel or the experiences that you had when you were younger. Oftentimes, younger children, like second or third children, have more of a tendency to rebel against what the patterns were, whereas the first children will follow in the footsteps and take on the financial blueprint of their parents. So one of the things he recommends in regards to this is first to really get a good understanding of what their patterns were, your parents' patterns when it comes to wealth and finances, and actually write this stuff down. Don't just think, oh yeah, I know what my mom's relationship to money was. Like, actually write it down and talk a little bit about who she was and who her parents were, because just like us, our parents received their financial programming from their parents. And if you're around the same age as I am, you most likely have parents whose parents grew up in a really hard time in the world. They may well have lived through the Great Depression, through one or both world wars, and some kind of extreme, intense stuff that if you live in a, shall we say, first world nation, although I don't love that term that much, you probably are living in a state of relative comfort and safety that almost all generations before us did not exactly enjoy. However, we're still continuing forward with some of the programming that we received from these previous generations. It's literally in our blood, it's in our genes, it's in the fabric of our being. But the very, very important thing to understand about this is that this is programming that can be changed. And if you want to create a different financial reality for yourself, it is of the utmost importance that you make this change if you don't like where you are right now or your trajectory. Because whatever your current financial status is right now is a result of your subconscious beliefs about money and how life is and your relationship to those things. So if you don't like the pathway that you're on, it's imperative that you make the decision to make a change. And that's what I did when I first learned about this information 5 or 6 years ago. I realized that I had some financial programming that I didn't really like, wasn't really working out for me, and I decided to make a change. This is totally changing your relationship to money. So you'll notice if you observe people that wealthy people and people who struggle with money have a very different relationship to money. For instance, wealthy people tend to invest their money either in assets or in education that's moving them towards a place where they can actually earn more money, or their assets can appreciate in value. People who struggle with money, on the other hand, have a tendency to quickly spend that money whenever they get it. Another pattern that he speaks about is that wealthy people tend to have the habit of being on offense when it comes to finances, when it comes to money. And people who are struggling are doing the opposite. They're constantly in a defensive mode when it comes to money. So this is basically like this is a scarcity picture, a scarcity mode. And if that's the vibration that you are transmitting when it comes to money, you're going to continue to attract more of the same circumstance. And I say this very much from my own experience. I've done a lot of this in my life of attracting this energy through this kind of defensive scarcity mentality when it comes to finances. So the best way that you can counteract that is first to identify that and understand the effect that really has, and then to begin educating yourself in as many ways as possible about money. How can you earn more money, or how can you use the money that you're earning in a way to create more a higher net worth in the future? So there's a ton of information that you can learn about this stuff. And I've basically spent, from that day to this, I've been constantly educating myself about money because I wanted to attract more of it. I wanted to have more of an abundance of it in my life. And I'm here today making this video to tell you that the stuff really does work. I mean, it's amazing what you can do. And I still have some of that old programming that I'm seeking to replace with new patterns. However, like, the change is remarkable, and well worth your effort. Well worth your effort sharing this information, because I just know how useful it has been in my life, and continually reminding myself about this stuff and learning new things and noticing my programming when it comes up again and again, because certain intense experiences, like for instance, right now, my wife and I are buying property. We're buying a house, and that's bringing up all this like deep, formerly subconscious programming that I had around money that is being like triggered by this intense event of making a big commitment, like buying a house, buying land. So here's a quick exercise from that book, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T Harv Eker. I'd highly recommend getting it if you prefer audiobooks. I know it's on Audible and also on YouTube for free. All right, so steps for change. First, you understand your connection with your parents' money habits and how that connection is affecting your life right now. So like I said earlier, you write down the habits of your two parents or any of your other primary caregivers in relation to money, and notice how those habits are playing out in your life right now. They could be playing out by, again, you repeating those patterns or rebelling against those patterns and doing the opposite. And even if your parents are really wealthy, you still have some level of their money programming. Like for instance, maybe your mom or dad made a ton of money, but they were constantly working, so you didn't get to see them all the time. So you still could have this sort of negative imprint around money, because that one parent had to work so hard to create that wealth, and for that reason, you didn't get to spend as much time with them as you wanted to, or something like that. So we all have some type of money programming, no matter where you are on the scale of financial abundance. So Consider their ways of being and their habits around money. Write down how you may be identical or opposite to those ways of being. So can you see this way of being as a result of their circumstance and programming? It is a result of their circumstances and their programming, and your way of being is a result of your circumstances and your programming. Again, I'm sharing the good news today, if you didn't already know, that we can actually change our programming. Can you see that in this moment, you have a choice to be different? So we're first identifying what those patterns are and understanding that we have the freedom to choose to create new patterns. And again, hypnosis is a really useful way to start changing these patterns from the inside out through changing your subconscious mind, which is responsible for the vast majority of the results that we get in our lives are coming from our subconscious mind. That's why it can be so hard to change when you think, oh, I'm going to make a change, but you still have this programming beneath the surface that is pushing you in the same direction to repeat the same old patterns. So here's the quick exercise, which is you place your hand on your heart and say that what I modeled in the past around money was their way, not mine. I choose to make my own way. Once again, actually do this. Put your hand on your heart and say, what I modeled in the past around money was their way, not mine. I choose to make my own way. And following that, touch your head and say, I have a millionaire mind. I have a millionaire mind. And that term millionaire, I know, is kind of loaded for a lot of people. Some people don't really believe that that's what they want or that could be possible for them. That's totally fine. I think another way you could say it is, I have an abundant mind. And understanding that your spirit, your body, and your mind are actually the source of wealth creation in your life. This stuff doesn't come from external sources. It comes from you. And you have the ability to manifest whatever you desire in this life. However much abundance you are seeking to create, you have the option of manifesting that. And that power is within you at all times, including right now. So a couple more things I'll share from this book is that people who are struggling with money or struggling, for instance, in my book, I talk about some of this stuff, but I talk about it more from the angle of love. And you'll find that a lot of these concepts are pretty much the same. It's all working with the same laws, the law of attraction and the other similar laws. And it's really this idea of like vibrating on the level of what you want to attract, starting from the inside out. So people who are struggling with money believe that life is happening to them. They're always a victim of circumstances. And so it could be their boyfriend or their girlfriend or their mom or their dad or their stupid boss or their car broke down or blah, blah, blah. Like always a victim to any circumstance. And it's really easy to go there. I know I'm certainly not immune to this, but I'm making the resolution to notice when I am playing the victim role and cut that shit out. Wealthy people, on the other hand, believe that they are creating their own lives. Again, it's this idea of are you living life constantly defensive on the defense when it comes to money and love and health and whatever? Or are you on the offense? Are you deciding to be the captain of your own ship, create your own reality, forge your own pathway? It's a choice that we get to make in any moment of every day. So yeah, victims believe that life is happening to them. They blame anything and everything around them, including themselves. And this, by the way, all this stuff I'm talking about is really important to understand that this is not about blame. It's not about blaming your parents or yourself or anybody else for the programming that you have. It's simply about awareness. We're just recognizing, Like if I don't like where I'm at right now with my career, with my health, with my love, with my whatever, it's my responsibility to make that change in this moment. And so finally, people who are struggling, who are victims, continue to affirm this by complaining. And what complaining does is it attracts more circumstances to you for you to complain about. So it's a vicious cycle. On the flip side, we can do the opposite by affirming and appreciating. So what you appreciate appreciates. What you compliment will come back, and all of what you're putting out is coming back. We all understand this on a basic level, right? But for whatever reason, we keep forgetting it and get stuck in these modes of complaining or feeling like a victim or whatever. But we can, by moving forward with gratitude and appreciation, attract more of what we want and what we need into our lives. So finally, he says that there's no such thing as a truly wealthy victim. People who become really wealthy are always people who understand that they are creating their own reality. They are driving the ship. So the challenge he poses with this book is to spend an entire week without complaining at all, not even in your head. So I'm doing this right now. It's a fun game to play. And stuff probably comes up. We have a lot of these patterns, as I said. So if a complaining comes up in your head, just like identify it, pick it up, and cut it out. So do this challenge for a week, for a month, or for the rest of your life. It's really great programming to start implementing in your life. So that's it for now, everybody. I want to remind you that I have this new book that I wrote, relatively new book. It's the Love Attraction Manual. You can get it directly from me if you want to get a signed copy, or you can also buy it on Amazon. It talks a lot about the stuff that we were speaking about today, largely through the lens of love, not money. But as I said, they're quite intimately related because the concepts remain the same. The principles are the same. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace, everybody.